Yeah, then we're both lost, Alex. Hi everyone, this is Scott from Three Songs Out. We're talking with Alex Henry Foster today of Alex Henry Foster and the Long Shadows. I first came to Alex's music during COVID, and it's very much become a soundtrack to my life now, through the good times, the bad times, and it runs through my entire family, definitely. My son last year, when he was ill, lay on our bed watching one of Alex's live streams from Europe. We watched the premiere of Alex's new DVD, me and my new son Archie on my stomach, just at the weekend together. My partner Jill has been to Alex's gigs. We're very much an Alex Henry Foster Alex Henry Foster family, I think.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, thank you so much for this privilege to be part of your journey. It's so inspiring for me. It's very humbling because it's real, you know.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, to me, your music is very. It works on so many levels. Obviously, there's the music part, and you know the songs, the lyrics, the creation that the Long Shadows brings to the sound. But it just goes so much deeper than that. And I know a few friends who've listened to music as well, and they've said the exact same thing.
wow. Well, thank you.
Yeah, it touches people in a way that not a lot of music does. It's not with your albums. It's not a casual listen. It's not put this on the background and have a party.
It's funny, even though I've been asked if I was willing to do like a wedding reception, I said, I'm not sure if it's quite appropriate.
Yeah. How long can you do the Power of the Heart?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know if I still remember that song, to be honest.
Oh man, why do you think that there's this little something about your music that seems to touch people in such a way?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it's probably better for me not to really think about it, because then it's so easy nowadays to become self-centered or to become ambitious about what you have, because everybody's looking for a formula. This is how it goes. It's just like, it's all about clicks, it's all about plays, it's all about how willing you are to kind of create an illusion clear enough for people to believe it, and then you're falling into your own kind of trap. So for me, I've never been truly attracted to that. I was always very fearful of quote unquote fame, stardom. Success has a complete different perspective for me. I'm here at the Great Escape and music conference, and I'm talking with like different upcoming bands about my journey, and they're asking me, okay, so what's basically, how can you get famous? I'm just like, well, it depends on what being famous means for you. For me, it's being able to talk with people and to connect. I'm here, I'm writing postcards to friends that have been supporting me, and we're sharing. I've been doing audios for people who are ordering the latest record, and this is, it's part of who I am. That's the reward for all the things that I have to go through to keep on going. It's the connection with the people. And when you're honest enough to say, well, this is for me, the real center, this is the cornerstone upon which I'm building the rest. And I think that's a beautiful thing. You need to be honest with yourself. And this is the expression, I would say, of honesty. Sometimes maybe I would like to understand a bit more of the formula. It will help in different ways. But for me, it always goes back to the people and the community, and to be able to connect. And that's how you grow. And because this is what I was sharing yesterday, and I think it's going to answer your question a little bit more precisely. And I do remember the first time we toured ages ago with a different band, and I was so impressed by the main band, not because of their how good they were on stage, not because of how popular I thought they were, but because as we were backstage, I was able to see them having so many friends coming down, backstage every every night. And I was so fascinated by that. I had like a whole lot of admiration for that, because can you believe, you go through all those cities, and everywhere you stop, there's people that are close enough to you that you're enthusiastic about seeing them in the most intimate aspect of touring, which is your backstage or green room. And I was so admirative of that, and I was looking at that, and I do remember telling Jeff, another member of the band, and said, "Wow, I wish that one day I'll be able to say, oh, tomorrow I'm gonna see so and so backstage."
Mhm.
And that was, and it sounds like kind of naive, I wasn't like thinking about doing arenas or anything like that. Maybe I should have projected that a bit more. There would be like way more people backstage. I should have thought that through. But it's just beautiful, And now you go from a city to another, and you can, you're seeing people evolving, and you're so admirative of their lives.
Mhm.
People having kids, and just keep on taking a chance at embracing their dreams and their lives. And this is such a blessing for me. And I think it's part of the music that I do. There's that humanity in there, where it's if it was designed to be successful, as people might see success, I think first I would fail miserably. And all my friends would be like, oh man, they would cut on you, just like, Alex, you are such a poser. But I think, for considering the fact that I've been through all that before with my previous band, we had like countless hit singles on the radio. We were touring constantly. We were like, our albums were always nominated for um, amazing awards. And quite frankly, I've never been happy.
Mhm.
And I'm grateful, because it's a friendship kind of story. We're all coming from nothing, and we got to that point against all odds, independently, based on our own values, our own way of doing things. But still, I never really wanted to define myself by other people's opinion. And I think it kind of like got to me at some point with the other band, and to the point where I was so miserable. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to react. Nobody prepared me to so much attention. And when you just saying something that could have a real impact on people's life, and I don't think I was I understood that position of mine, but I really didn't know what to do with it. And I was so terrified. And you're in the rock world. It's very macho, and you need to pretend that you figure things out. And me, I just couldn't play that game. I was so
Mhm.
terrified all the time. And I think that with my project, there is that freedom that comes with it, that allows me to say, well, I am afraid, I am terrified. And you can commune that with people and share. And it doesn't come as a formula where you're just like you're turning yourself into kind of an emotional freak show. It's just like, well, this is we're all going through the same thing, and then you're really letting go into it, and um, there's no such thing as abandoning yourself to it to
Yeah.
really go through. So that's why it's a very long answer. It's I think that's the reason, and the
Mm.
reason is life. It's just in order to, and Hemingway said something I really love. Ernest Hemingway, he said, in order to write about life, you need to experience it.
Mm.
And I think you get to a point where you can go, you can be like 100 years old without experiencing anything as much as you can be like early teen, and you experience many things because you're just allowing yourself to go through that journey of life, no, regardless of where you're at. And that's a beautiful thing, and I'm very grateful that I'm surrounded by fabulous people that are reminding me, to keep the focus at the right place.
Oh, bless you, man. Um, that's it. Because at the start, I mean, obviously you had the debut album, Windows in the Sky, which was then followed up by the Standing Under Bright Lights live album. So it seemed to be following a very much traditional album to a live album before, while things get put through, while you write and
Yeah.
get the next record ready. Then you had major health issues.
Yeah.
Probably an understatement,
Yes.
um, which saw you pretty much hospitalized, dead at one point, on
Yeah.
the operating table. And it kind of shows that after that that the creative output of the band has become very much, it's still very organic, but you're now following almost a different path. You're following what you feel in yourself needs to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's strange, because everything happens so fast, because I do vividly recall we were ending like a European tour,
Mhm.
and I was in Nuremberg, and everything was great. The tour was awesome, and I was already pretty much aligned with the next record and exactly what I wanted. And we were already talking about a world tour, but everything changed in a flash. And what was the most confusing element for me, because when I got back from that tour, you know, I was exhausted,
Mhm.
but it's totally normal in my case, like playing 3 hours full throttle and, take no prisoner kind of attitude. You're just like, you just like let go of everything you have every other night. And it's funny because I was saying like, oh, for me, when people were asking me, so what is it for you to be on stage? It was like dying every night.
Mm.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I should have like kind of like now I'm rephrasing that, no more dying, please. I'm like, it's a rebirth every night. This is what I should have said.
that
And
that's probably a good way to put it. A rebirth.
absolutely perspective, right?
Mm.
And when I got back to Montreal, and I went to the doctor like I always do after a tour, and she was like, "Oh man, you need to go to the hospital right away." And I thought she was kidding because Mel was going back to America where I live, and I was just like, "What? Of course, what are you talking about? I'm leaving. My flight leaves in 4 hours." And that was the beginning of a crazy journey, because after that, what came after was a very strange kind of preparation towards what I would what I thought I would go through, because you have to deal with the high possibility of dying. So it means that all the people around you are asking you to make sure that everything is in order, that you have a proper will. You go in front of all, you have to deal with so many people while keep on planning what what might or not come after that. And that was so strange. And I think I got to the point where after the surgery, and when me obviously at that point I didn't know that everything that could go wrong went terribly wrong. But when I woke up after that, I was so ready to depart
Mhm.
that it was very, very strange for me after that. It was very confusing. And I was happy, don't get me wrong. I was very grateful that they saved my life. But after that, it was basically uh, living in a layer of reality that it's kind of difficult for me to explain, because everybody's obviously they're very caring, they're happy, and they don't look at you quite much as the same as before. And even for me, I was just like, okay, if I'm embracing something and I really want to invest my heart into something, so is it something that is going to be taken away from me, or where am I now? Should I wait a little to see if it's going to be okay, or if I'll have more problems after? So it was because you're getting ready physically, but there's absolutely no preparation emotionally and psychologically for that. And it took me quite a while to figure things out, because since the surgery was so terrible and the recovery was very, very difficult, because I wasn't able to write, I wasn't able to read. It took me 4 months to be able to talk again. And my specialists were already preparing me that it I might never set foot on a stage again, or either talk normally. So everything I felt was defining me. I was depraved of. I wasn't able to think quite clearly, because since I basically died on that table and lost so much blood. I had like a whole lot of plasma blood. I had micro problems in my brain. So everything felt blurry. And to this day, sometimes I don't know words, just like table, for an example. Things like that, just like what? Forgot names, or there's like fragments of memories that are completely gone. They will slowly come back. But that was so confusing. And then I realized that I wasn't defined by what I was doing. I wasn't defined by being a songwriter. I wasn't defined by being an artist, entrepreneur, whatever you want to call it. What really I realized that, and that the beautiful thing, I realized that what was truly defining me was the fact that I could connect with other people, and that was really the main thing in my life. It's that kind of human drive that was there still. And I was already thinking, it's okay if I cannot talk anymore, and if it's impossible for me to write anymore, because I had like a whole lot of problems with coordination. So I said, okay, but who am I? And I was already thinking about, okay, but there's so many different ways to express myself and to connect with others. And this is not supposed to be something that keep me away from who I am. And that was that it's been a crazy journey to accept that. And I think it was very liberating at the same time. And
Yeah.
then I was able to do whatever I wanted instinctively again, because I realized that I don't have to be in a format. I didn't have to um I don't have to follow whatever roads people want me to walk into. So that was a real adjustment, and it was very difficult for my friends around as well because I was basically on another time zone as they were. Because they were just like, okay, so what are we gonna do? What do you want to do, Alex, now? And then Kimio came, and it was something positive for me to focus on, and I was able to, even though I was so weak and I had so little energy for me to focus on something every day, that positive, that beautiful, that, and I wasn't the center of it. I wasn't the driving force. Showed me that there's great quality of people around me on human level, but also their talents. And people were very, very patient with me because sometimes it was so frustrating. And Kimio really was built on a daily basis, basically, because depending on how I was feeling, it was a real life motion. So it became a true journey in itself. And I think that's what kind of led the way for the rest. And when it was time for me to go on the road again, after 18 months, it was very, very early, but probably a little dangerous as well. But I had so many questions. And even though I was so frightened by the answers I might have and might found, I needed to go because
Mhm.
my main worry was, okay, so I need to be able to let go and to completely abandon myself into the moment. Otherwise, it just doesn't make sense for me to be on stage. But when I'm on stage, I'm so concerned about, oh, am I gonna faint? Am I gonna have like a heart attack? And is it gonna be okay? So should I pace myself? Should I keep on going? So there were so many questions like that. It was so tough for me to actually let go. But as I thought, and again, going back to the people, as I thought it would be from going from one stage to another to kind of get those answers, I realized that actually it was after the shows that all those answers were becoming clearer and clearer through all the hugs I was exchanging with people, affection, laughter, tears sometimes. And it led me right to that night in Cologne,
Mhm.
and which gave life to a nightfall ritual because it was the first time that I actually felt at peace, that I was okay. I wasn't worried about anything. It was very serene. And I found that comfort in the people. And suddenly I wasn't truly worried about falling per se because I knew that so many people would be there to catch me. And when you're in
Mhm.
a position where you're always the person giving, you sadly tend to forget that there's a whole lot of people that are actually there waiting to give as well and not expecting anything in return. And that was one of the most beautiful thing that I realized during that small little tour up to that night in Cologne, which became a true celebration of life. So that's why, it's difficult to take elements
Mhm.
and to kind of pinpoint, oh, this is what happened. And then
Yeah.
it's because it's the story in itself that makes sense. And without elements of that story, I think it would be diminishing of how instrumental people's love and benevolence towards me has been so yeah, they've been the true driving force because when I was so discouraged, everything was bleak at some point, everything was so dark, but people were kept on sending me like letters, postcards, and I'm still very emotional talking about that because I'm very grateful. But I knew that it meant something, and I wasn't alone in that fight
Yeah.
to to kind of get back in the groove, you know. And yeah. Only you, Scott. I'm usually not that emotional with others.
No, no, no.
Oh.
I completely get it. Like, I totally get it. Because to me, I kind of looked at Camille as you almost trying to rediscover
Mhm.
what you were, what the music was. Hence, you know, you've got Momoko doing providing the vocals, you know, which you know it just adds a completely different texture to everything. I remember the first time I listened to it, I'm like, this is familiar but not familiar,
Yeah.
you know. But it worked so well, and then A Measure of Shape and Sounds comes out literally 3-4 months later,
Yep.
and it's almost like you've used Camille as a way to release some of the pain, some of the burden that you were carrying from the illness and the recovery, and possibly even things like, you know, your father's passing, which was documented so well on the first album.
Hmm.
And A Measure of Shape and Sounds almost sounds like an embrace, you just standing there going, I'm taking all of this, the good, the bad. I'm just going to stand here in this maelstrom and just let it wash completely over me.
So well
And
said.
so, thank you. And
It's true. Yeah.
then, yeah. And then you come to A Nightfall Ritual, which, you know, people are going, well, it's a live album, but yeah, that's not the point. You're not singing that.
Absolutely not.
It's this the next step on it. It's kind of there's two songs on there for people who haven't heard it that aren't on any other official release, and
Yeah.
you open with those, Up Till Dawn and I'm Afraid, which both are just, you know, I remember sitting listening to it for the first time in a coffee shop. I just dropped Finn off at nursery. It was about 9 o'clock in the morning. I had a large cup of coffee because I knew I wanted to really focus. I had some toast. I was like, okay, this is me just in the moment. And they took me completely by surprise because they're still very much Alex Henry Foster and the Long Shadows, but there's just something there. There's like an abandonment
Mm.
of everything you've had before, and just almost. I've always described you as standing in the middle of chaos and conducting it, because to me that's what you are, standing there at the little moog, or with your tenor guitar, or you know, or throwing yourself
Yes.
around. You know, the band are following you, and it's very much organic, and it's very much in the moment. And you get these songs, and you're just like, I mean, for me, that's sort of like rise and swell at the beginning of I'm Afraid.
Mm.
Like the pitch shift sound, you know, I immediately get that. I, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it now and talking about it. Immediately, it's just like, it's almost like an inhale for me,
Yeah.
you know, and then that space after that, it's like the exhale, and it's just, if you've never heard Alex's music before, it's very spiritual without being spiritual.
Yeah.
It's
It's true.
emotional without giving emotion. It's, you get out of Alex's music what you take from it. You know, it's just so organic. And then you follow those up with another relatively new song, The Son of Hannah, which is, again, there's no studio version as yet. That's only on the Standing Under Bright Lights album.
Yeah.
Um, which again, people, you know, I know most people, if they're going to release a live album, are going to go, well, here's the hits. You know, here's a couple of songs that we're touring, you know, from the new album. Here's the back catalogue. Here's, you know, all your favorites. And you give one. You give one out of the 4 songs that are on there, and that's The Pain That Bonds, which opens the original album.
Yeah.
This is completely different. It's almost like a different song altogether.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what I got from your music when I saw you in Glasgow those 3 years ago. You have the idea of the songs, and then you take them, and each night, I know you said that they're born again, that that they become something different. You feed off the emotion of the audience, you feed off the emotion of the band,
Yeah.
you take everything, and it becomes, originally, I'm just going to quickly check on Spotify here. I mean, Windows in the
It's kind of
Sky, in the
it's kind
Bonds
of a
is
new
literally,
canvas.
yeah, Pin Up the Bonds, 5 minutes on the original album.
Wow,
On a
I felt
Nightfall,
restrained.
on a Nightfall, 16 minutes 41 seconds.
Yeah,
And that's
there
not
was
five
more to
minutes of,
it, right?
yeah, that's not 5 minutes a song, and then 15 minutes of you going, thank you everybody for coming along tonight. Thank
Not
you,
really.
Jerry,
No, I
there.
don't think
Thank you,
that.
Peter, there. Thank you, Hannah. Um, it's it's so different. I mean, the way those voices all interweave at the start. Um, I was sitting there going, wow, this is just so weird, and I'd love to hear something like that in like a 5.1 mix.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, because
Yeah, and I think
it's
it's kind of funny because since I wasn't planning to do a release, with anything, following that tour, but
Mhm.
that's the reason I gave you like the backstory leading to Cologne, because then when it became some kind of a celebration of life, I was so happy that to know that we had like a proper recording and a proper um, images
Hmm.
for that moment, because I think that what we experienced that night was transcending that moment in itself. So it wasn't a thing like, oh, you had to be there kind of moment, which are sometimes a bit of the boring aspect of live records, because everybody's, oh man, I wish I would have been there. So it's completely, it doesn't have anything to do with that. It's really about that entire let go. And I wasn't even like considering the fact that, oh, there's like, I'm playing new material here, and I'm gonna release that, which it might be like a little surprising, but when it's that real and that pure, I think that and I have the material to release it. That's the most incredible sensation there is, as not only as an artist but mainly as a person that shared and that communed those emotions with the people. And when we're playing, and I like to see the way I'm seeing art and creation is the fact that it's not linear. I have a whole lot of admiration for bands that can play their songs the very same way as listening to a CD per se, or like on a radio. I mean, and to keep on going and going and going. There's no, in my sense, there's no danger. There's no life even,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
it's okay because people are, they want to have a different kind of experience. They are there to be uh, joyful about listening in a live sitting their favorite songs, and which is wonderful. But what I like as a person is when you're able to go somewhere, you don't know what to expect, or at least you have a little bit, you have a little idea that everything you're expecting
Mhm.
won't be really what you're about to be offered to commune with. And I think that's fabulous because you're leaving after that, and I believe that people had a good night, they were happy, But then they might have completely forget what happened that night, but something is keeps on growing within them because we let go. Some people cried, some people jumped. So there's a real uh, emotional charge in what we do. And when they're leaving, it's like, just the burden that you came up with, it is not waiting for you at the door if you don't want to. And so people might not even realize what they experienced, on any given night. And it will keep on growing, that sense of liberation and emancipation, and that kind of like, whoa, freedom. And I'm I'm very far away at that point, and it doesn't have anything to do with me. It's really just it's a canvas that we're painting all together, and that keeps on being like, we keep on adding shades, we keep on adding like some colors, and sometimes we just want to repaint everything. So, but still, even when you're repainting and you start, but there's the under layers are still there, and it's still part of that motion, it's still part of that experience, and that's the beautiful thing for me. And to be live, even though it's kind of funny because I'm always stressed before going on stage. And a lot of people are asking me, yeah, but what are you stressed about? And for me, it's never about being able to perform those songs. It's about to be able to discern the intangible elements that I want to commune with people, and then to be able to get in that motion with them. I'm not the one channeling that. It's together that we're giving life to something that it's invisible. So so to be prepared like that, you need to be completely you need to forget about your own conditions sometimes, or about your own frustrations or whatever, because being on the road with so many people like I do, it's let's put it that way. It's very interesting. And some days are more interesting than others. But still, you get to put yourself in that vibe, in that motion, in that spirit. So then when you get on stage, it's not about you. It's not about, oh, everybody's coming to see Alex. Oh, is coming to hear, whatever shenanigans Alex has prepared, to entertain us. It's really a kind of ceremony, and it's kind of a collective ritual, and that's why I saw it like that. That me, I'm just one piece of that incredible puzzle, and every pieces has its own design and has a different purpose, and collectively then we realize, oh my God, okay, this is the purpose of all that. And we're all leaving back, and I don't think that the shape of our piece is quite the same as it was when we got there in the first place. So that's how I see things. While being in the studio, it's basically you and machines having a time with yourself where you're facing your own level of honesty, and you need to determine if you've been as far as you were maybe willing or maybe able to go at any given moment. And when you do, and you go to that, you just go as deep as you can. But you'll keep on going every time you're playing those songs, and you realize that, oh man, there's like another layer that you can go even more profound every time. Or sometimes you might discover things through that journey, and all those elements are reshaping the songs, are helping you to get in a different direction sometimes, just like with Paint That Buns, and as an example. It's just it because life is kind of circular, and as you keep on going and allowing yourself to experience elements, you're you might see, hey, it looks like the starting point, but it's not quite the starting point. It's like maybe another marker in your life, but it keeps on growing and growing and growing. And to get back to that very first, what feels like a first marker, as you keep on going, it's going to take more time because you're allowing yourself to evolve. So those songs are basically, the same, and they keep on evolving. People will talk to me about, you know, one of those songs and will say, oh, just like, this is what I really experienced listening to it. And it might be completely different from the initial emotions those
Mhm.
songs were born from. But Mia would never say, oh, cool, thank you. And then in my head, it's like, well, she got it all wrong. No, it's just like, wait a minute. There's something that I haven't seen, and that's amazing. And then I'm going to start thinking about it, start musing about it. And suddenly, guess what? You've got like the song is reshaping itself, and it keeps on growing. And it makes sense
Mm.
because it's not um it's not something that is so tangible that it becomes untouchable. And suddenly, well, just like some of those bands that are saying like, oh, we're sick and tired of playing those hits. In my head, I'm just like, yeah, but why don't you let those songs, evolving in a way that
Mm.
it will never feel as if you were playing those hits. But again, this is my perspective. I'm clearly not Radiohead at this point.
I don't know, because at the end of the day, for me, it's the what's that quote kind of music isn't sort of like complete. A song isn't finished; it's merely abandoned. And I
Absolutely.
think that's kind of what you've done with the studio recordings. You haven't
Yeah.
like abandoned it, like yeah, we'll put it to one side and move on. It's there in its complete form, but then you come back and revisit and
And
you
I'm
take
driving
more from it, and you
and I'm driving the rest of the band crazy sometimes because, you know, for them they're, I mean, bless their hearts, they're so amazing because to keep on, tagging along with all of that, it's quite crazy because, you know, being there as basically, it's basically being in charge of an orchestra where, if I don't want, the cello to go on, then I want the flutes, and just it's my call, but everybody's waiting for
know.
the cello's cue. And I think that at first it was quite puzzling for them. It was very uh intimidating that I would go like that. But they needed to be focused on the emotion and the spirit rather than the parts coming. Because as I said earlier, because I've been in another kind of band before, it was very easy to kind of play without being there because
Yeah.
you knew the parts, you knew all the rock and roll gimmicks, you knew what to do to get the crowd, into it. And so everything was so uh, organized that even for me, I felt like stuck in such a tight box that it was impossible. I kept on telling the guys. I mean, I was seeing like sometimes I was seeing people being very emotional, and I do remember one girl was like crying in a crowd, and she was like really, really crying, but I couldn't stop the song, or I couldn't like keep on. I couldn't ask the band to keep on going because there was so much layers of sounds and sounds and sounds going on that that thing was driving the whole show. It wasn't the human aspect of it. And it's really when the first time when I went in China, and that we didn't have any time structure, and people were just like, when you can go on stage whenever you want, you can leave whenever you want. And we're just like, okay, well, I don't even know if we have that much material to cover that whatever you want period. And that was the very first moment when I told the guys, well, guys, we need to let's improvise. Let's see what we have. And that was a little bit of a moment that we had at the time that kept on growing within me. And when it was time to say, okay, well, I don't think I feel what we're doing as a band, and I need to kind of reimagine this whole thing creatively. That was exactly what I wanted to do. You know, just to tap into that moment thing, and because this is the reason I'm doing music in the first place. All the bands, from crazy avant-garde bands from New York, that most of my friends were just like, it's only noise. and it kept on growing, and the guys are amazing in that sense, because I think now it's not only that they're accepting that they're in some kind of very weird band now, but I think they're finally in a position where they can express themselves and add to those songs based on their feelings as well. Even though I would be the one calling the shot, but you can play safe and play the chords as much as you want, but it doesn't mean that it's very significant for you. And now we're getting, you know, we got to the point where everybody contributing something that it's beyond music. It's they're playing with their playing is intentional rather than being, you know, on cue. There's intention in what they play, and this is a gift they're offering me every night, and this is fantastic. And it's something that sometimes I'm just like, I'm looking around in the studio just like, feels like it would take like some of those craziness here and there. And but it's a different approach. It's a different view
Yeah.
on a moment, you know.
That's probably a good way to look at it, because obviously you put out just before this a whispering moment, which has, just quickly checking here, 4 different versions of Shadows on Our Evening Tides, all completely different to each other.
Yeah.
You know, there's common threads, there's common themes. It's almost like you've gone, here's the song, but I'm going to push this a little bit louder, take this a little bit away, reshape this, refunnel that. And, you know, it's not just a case of going, here's the demo, here's the song, here's the live version with a little bit of a jam. That they're all just still so natural.
Yeah, and I think it's about following wherever the song wants to go on any given night. And also that project was very it's funny because a lot of people were just like, they were very grateful that I released that, and I think that they were wondering why I released that in the first place. And I don't think I share that with a lot of people, but I honestly thought that would be the last project I would be able to release at that point, as that in that kind of way, because I was still very impaired. I was very still ill at that point, and it was reflecting something, because that song just keeps on growing, and people are owning that song in a way that I would never thought or dream of, you know. And so because it wasn't mine, but it was also part of my journey. So I said, well, that would be a wonderful way, a wonderful gift to say, okay, well, this is how I see life and how I'm expressing that life through art and music and connection with others. And this is the common thread in this project. So it wasn't truly about, oh, I need to release something. Christmas is coming. I need to release like Alex Henry Foster goes Christmas time.
2005 Christmas album. You heard it here
Yeah,
first.
exactly. Have you heard Jingle Bell in a very weird way? Here we go. Well, if ever I have that idea, ever, Scott, I want you to come and just like take me away for a while.
No,
And
no,
so yeah, but
I want to see what. Let's see
where
what you
it
can
will
do with it,
lead.
Alex.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, maybe someday, but not now. People are confused enough with the arc of all my discography right now. I just need to I just need to do something like, okay, this is what I'm doing now. So yes,
Alex,
honestly, I was thinking that it would be the very last thing I would share with people in that sense. And that's why it became so significant for me to do so. And it wasn't the only intention I had, because it was really intentional. It was to say thank you, because
yes,
this is what we're creating together. And when I say together, it's not me and the band, but it's me with the people, you know?
yeah.
So
It,
that's
it,
really what drives us to
it's
go
weird
further.
because, yeah, the song. I mean, I know when you played Glasgow, you that was the closing song, and I always get sort of like a swell inside as soon as I hear the Allen Ginsberg
Mm.
sample kind of kick in, which just is such a beautiful thing. I actually suggested it to a friend for he was looking for something to inspire his wedding vows, and I was like, "You need to hear this." The
Thank
way of
you.
the world is love, and and for me, when my father passed, I listened to that song a lot because it helped me heal so much, because it made me realize the love I had for him, the hurt I had of his passing, the hurt I had as a child when you get angry, and it was very healing. And for you to say that you kind of were releasing it because you thought that may be the very last thing that you can do as Alex Henry Foster from the Long Shadows because of the illness, it's it makes sense.
Yeah,
It
I
makes
thought
sense.
so. And within all the confusion, maybe that was like a very little, like a little moment of clarity. It's okay, well, that makes sense. And it's cool because, another like element of blessing that I have is beyond the band itself and my friends, and it's how generous people will be after that, just like what you're expressing. Most of the time, I don't know if it's because people don't care. When I say people, I'm meaning like creators and artists beyond, their own, self indulgences. But for me to hear something like that, it's just like, man, it's it gets me right back to that initial inception of those songs, and just like keeps you very humble, but also there's a real honor to be able to hear that and just like, wow, just this is beautiful. And it's some people who say, oh yeah, I was doing an interview and say, oh yeah, now do you feel like you have a duty to do something? And I said, well, no, because when you have a duty, it's just like it feels like you need uh, a stressor to kind of push you and force the issue for you to actually do it. No, I think it's just like that wonderful uplift of love that keeps on being that keeps on blooming in my life from one uh, moment like this. Sharing something so personal. I mean, how many people are we that personal with in the first place. You know, when you really think about it, people that we feel very, very comfortable to be, to drop our defenses and to be absolutely as honest as possibly. Um, it's very few, man. It's very, I mean, it's rare, especially now. I mean, we're so, you know, we're living in a world, it's so cynical, and there's a lot of fatalism, and nobody wants to expose themselves, and because you never know, we're always like, should I say something like that? And we keep that inside, the good like the bad, and it's unhealthy in so many ways. But when we have uh, a little bit of a, just this little thing where you can just express yourself in all um, naivety, I would say, or purity, and it is just so liberating, and it gives it being liberated from that, like, just, gives you some space to cultivate life in a different way. But it's so rare, so that's why I'm just like, man, a duty? No, I'm just like, it's more like a blessing. Just like, what are you talking about? You know, it's just, and that's beautiful, and that's why, and it's very fragile, and you need to be you need to take that as a very incredible piece of art that you're gonna, you don't, it's gonna be the center of the room, even though people will come and might knock it down, and then it's gonna crack and everything, and then you will glue it all up. But it's life, you know. You don't put life under a glass window, like, and you only put it, you know, for show when there's special people coming over. It's life. It's like a mise en place, you know. You're bringing people for dinner, and you're just showing all the ingredients while you're talking, and you know, and then you let the ingredients do the magic. There's colors, and then the perfume and everything, and everybody's getting excited. Wow, it smells good. What's this? And you know, you've got all the ingredients. That's life. And all those
Yeah.
little ingredients, or all those sensations and feelings we're sharing together, it's the same thing, you know. I'm not, some people like to eat hot dogs all the time, but there's even different kind of sausages once in a
Yeah.
while. You don't
Yeah.
have to be fancy whatsoever to
Yeah,
feel
exactly.
that life excitement, you know.
We all know Ben likes his German sausages.
Yes, he does. Oh my God, it's, yeah, it's a bit concerning, actually, you know.
Yeah.
He likes that a lot. People are sending him stuff all the time. I'm just like, dude, I don't know. Like, I don't know how long it's been in the mail, but if you want to, it's up to you, buddy. You might have very strange dreams.
Oh, we're kind of tie things up a little bit now, I suppose, seeing as though, you know, you have the conference to carry on with, and you know,
Yeah,
I've got sons to bathe and put to bed and eat.
and that's
um,
life.
yeah, exactly. So at the minute, you've obviously got the Substack, which has just started up, which is a brilliant way to kind of get out there.
Oh
Um,
man, that's awesome for me.
yeah,
I mean,
it's cool.
it's beautiful
Mm.
for someone like
To me,
me.
it almost
You
looks like
know,
an
I'm,
extension of the club, which you run.
yeah, and
You know, it's
and it, you
more
know what schools
spontaneous.
got is before, you know, even with social medias. I mean, it's very tough to reach out to your people, and then it becomes a bit of a gimmick where it's only promotional aspects, and you know, because you want to make sure that people knows that you have a record out. You want to know that, you know, you're going on tour, and none that it's wrong. I mean, it's of course you want people to get the news, because it's a whatever you're doing, it's a great news. But me, it was getting very frustrating because the format is very quick. I mean, it's just like people were telling me, "Oh, you should be on TikTok." I'm just like, yeah. Can you do like half an hour video on TikTok? They were like, no, it's like short videos. Yeah, that's the reason I'm not there, really there.
Very
And
German sausage.
yeah, exactly. So I think it's just to be able to be spontaneous, and I don't want to get caught into like, oh no, you cannot talk about that because we are in the middle of a campaign for your new record. Oh, there's a new song coming out, so can you please just talk about this? And which makes sense, obviously. I'm not foolish or crazy enough not to understand that. But I needed a place where I can be myself in a more spontaneous way, where I can go here, and just like do a video just because I want, and just like, oh man, I just had a wonderful conversation with my friend Scott, and it was so filled with life, and I'm so happy. I received so much energy, so it's enough of a reason for me to share that. But in different setups, it's so organized, and the platforms are not really welcoming that kind of content either. You need to grab people's attention in the first half second. I mean, that's the point of doing 20-minute songs, because we don't have to get to that point in half a second. You need to get in that motion. And this is why I wanted to do my Substack, because then I did like Q&As, and I had five questions, took me an hour. I can take all the time I want. People can
Yeah.
pause, people can just say, well, this guy's a freak or whatever, and it doesn't matter, because I have that time. I can take that moment, and this is my reward, if you want, just like, this is the thing. That's why I'm doing it all. So yeah, so it's new to me, and you would laugh because I'm so bad with technology. I'm trying to film myself, and just yesterday I was, and I'll conclude with that. You're gonna laugh, and you'll get the image in your head stuck there. You're gonna laugh at me for a while. So I'm in the park here. There's a beautiful park. It's very quiet. It's great. It's okay. Yes, cool. And I have this new gimbal where you can put your phone, and it's a bit techno, and I don't know anything about it. I'm trying to figure things out. So 45 minutes later, I said, okay, well, I'm gonna go old school. So I'm just gonna put my phone there, so I don't need all that micmac. I'm talking with people, right? Oh, I'm going to grab a coffee. All my things are on the table. I'm happy. I'm ready. I put my coffee on the table, and then I just not just like a tiny bit the table, but the ground was not stable. So the coffee everywhere on all my like papers, then dropped in my bag on everything I had. And me, I'm just like looking at this, and just because it would have been so easy for me just to put my phone there, just to talk, hey guys. No, I needed to put like all that kind of environment, and I'm just like, man, this is exactly why I don't want to use that kind of thing. And that was very, very funny. And there was like ladies, elderly women that were there looking at me, like looking at the mess, I'm kind of laughing. And so I'm going back, and they're just like, oh, we really like the way you reacted. You looked so composed, and you were laughing about it. I mean, because it was quite a mess. It's clear, I have a gallon mug, filled with coffee, and it's everywhere. I'm just like soaking my, just like this, just trying to, trying to get something out of it. I'm just, oh man, it's gonna be a long day. But that's the fun, because usually I was like followed by all the team, and videos were scheduled, and everything had to be in order, and and I think it brings back kind of the charm, just saying like, well, oh, I realize, my hair, are just like this, and oh, oops, I've been talking to you for 55 minutes, and I look like that. Well, I guess that now that I notice, we're past the point where I need, it's a problem anymore. It's fun,
Mm.
if you take yourself too seriously, especially what we're sharing and what we're talking about. I mean, I think you're just becoming, just like a character, and you're stuck
Yeah.
in that character. And I don't want that, and people are just telling me, wow, when they're meeting me, they said, well, I was expecting someone who's just like super like dark and down, and I'm just like, no, it's just the music.
Yeah,
It's just the music.
yeah,
Don't worry.
yeah. Hey, and if you
But
don't like the music, there's always the clappers.
yeah, exactly. Well, that's another story.
God, yeah, you got me on that. You got me
Oh,
on that.
dude, I felt so bad because first I did that for it with April Fool, and it was a very bad day. I was not physically feeling well, and usually when it's a very bad day, I'm trying to find a reason to spice things up and to bring some light into it. And I said, oh man, tomorrow it's like April Fool, and said I'm gonna try to get my management company to believe that I started something out of the blue, completely like just like going wild on something that it's absolutely not what I do usually. Funny lyrics and just like kind of a different genre of music. So, but I got them, and the main manager called me, and she was wonderful. Her name is Jenny. She called me. She said, Alex, you should have, we're supportive. Why didn't you tell me? Because with everything that I did, the Rolling Stone, the fake Rolling Stone interview, the website, the picture, and I put like so much into it, like perfection, right? It needs to be as real as possible. And then I realized by talking to her and receiving so many messages by people, just like, oh, I'm proud of you, Alex. Keep on going. I'm just like, oh boy, okay, well, I don't want people
Yeah,
to think that I'm laughing at everybody, just like, okay,
yeah,
Alex is a loose cannon now. Just like, he took maybe one too many pills. So it's just like he went rogue. And, but it was, I'm just trying to, before I would have never allow myself to do something like that.
mhm,
Just like, well, this is, I would, where life was taking place on stage and in the studio. Elsewhere, was very um, quiet, I would say.
mhm.
I was very like looking around. I was not really in the vibe, taking a chance like that or doing, things, even though with my friends, obviously. But now I think that it's maybe it's that second chance at life, and I'm realizing there's so much more to share. There's to bring a little bit of a smile in a weird day for people, and then people just like saying, "Oh man, this guy, what has he done again?" Just like my manager said, just like I mean, it was so, and then you have the truth for those jokes. He said, "Well, but Alex, you're just like." You just follow your muse, you want to do whatever you want, and then we were puzzled, but at the same time, I mean, it's totally you doing an interview. It's all the meanings of the songs and the words, and you've in your own crazy way, you found purpose in that and meaning, and you push that envelope, and we're just like, holy, what a new band, what's going on here? So it was very funny. But no, the clappers they might come back once in a while. We'll see how it goes, but it's
Yeah,
it's a side project, let's put it that way.
yeah. Perhaps the Clappers Christmas album.
See, that makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah,
you should tag
yeah,
along. You can sing with me.
yeah. I'll come along. Finn can drum a bit, so
That's it, man. Let's start like a family band. The
yeah,
clappers is like it's a collective. Let's put it that way. It's a collective band. We'll
Lex.
have a Jill can be like the in charge of the whole production thing.
Yeah, she would be as well. Yeah, she'd be telling us what to
Absolutely.
do. We'd
It's
just
a
be like, yeah,
family.
we'll do it.
All right, I'll
Oh
let
man,
you go to the family now.
honestly, man, thank you so much as always.
Oh,
It's
brother.
always a great pleasure to talk to you. It's always fun as well as happy at times, but you know, for the right reasons. But honestly, man, thank you so much as
You
always.
have that wonderful, wonderful effect on me, brother. This is, I'm very, like I told you, I'm inspired, and thank you for your kindness and welcoming me. So, all right, time to be a dad now.
Yeah. It's past time. Yeah. You need to get back up to Glasgow at some point there, Alex. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
Good.
Absolutely.
Finn needs bedtime stories.
You would gladly go and see those. I'm Uncle Alex.
Well, to be honest, one of my big memories of him is sitting in the old flat. He's about 2.5. I'm sitting in a rocking chair. The room's dark. It's around 7 in the evening, and we're listening, me and him, in the dark with these nice lights as I feed him to standing under bright lights. And we sat there for half an hour, and he was peaceful. I was peaceful, and it was just this wonderful moment that we shared.
Brilliant. Thank you, Somi, for telling me that. It's beautiful.
Oh man, no. Yeah. You in bed, come on up. Yeah. We'll look after you, my friend.
That's no doubt. You're already doing it in more ways than you think. So I love
cheers,
you, brother. Man. Please say hi to Jill and the rest of the kids for me. I love you always.
Do, man.
Such a pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah. Give Ben a hug for me. He now doesn't need to keep answering emails.
I will, promise. Love you.
Man. Love you, bro. Take care. Bye now. Bye.